Traveling at Christmas doesn't have to break the bank. Find out how we spent a week in Europe for under $2,000 on today's episode.
Welcome to the Travel More podcast.
Each episode, we share custom itineraries, travel hacks, expert advice, and even stories of our past travel failures to help you level up your travel game.
I'm Shelly, a lover of plans, itineraries, and cheap flights. I'm an expert deal finder with one eye always on the budget.
And I'm Bruce, the improviser, ready to pick up where plans fail to turn letdowns into unexpected trip favorites. We're here to bust through barriers that stop you from making your travel dreams a reality.
So book that flight, buy the tickets, and say hello to your next adventure.
This is the Travel More podcast.
Welcome back to the Travel More podcast.
Welcome to the holiday season edition.
It's the most wonderful time of year.
Except that you can tell probably from Bruce's voice that the most wonderful time also means the sickest time.
This is true.
This is like the third cold you've had.
It's the plague of working in schools, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. I was literally, I don't know if you could have heard it as much in my voice, but I was sick for like 3 straight weeks in like October, November. So I can't be one to talk.
It comes with the season, I guess, you know.
It happens. So we are talking all things Christmas today, specifically Christmas travel. This is a fun topic because I think people often hear of like these really great travel deals or really great like travel hack deals. And they're like, well, yeah, that's great if you can go like in a random Tuesday in January or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like a random
September.
Exactly. October is like a low time.
Season.
Yeah. Like, you know, must be great for those people, but we are not those people. We cannot go at those times either. And in fact, you know, as great as teaching is because it gives you a lot of time off, it also really limits the time off you have. And it's when everyone else has the time off.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
things
like
are busy. And it's also, you get time off when people usually are spending time with family, you know,
well,
so
because
it can
their
be hard.
kids are off.
Right.
Like, if we're off, so are their kids. So it's like, that's the time everyone chooses to go. So Christmas is no different from that. And, I mean, if you've ever tried to travel during Christmas, you'll be the first to know that, like, it's expensive. It's really expensive to travel during the Christmas season and Thanksgiving season for, you know, it's the whole holiday season is expensive. And so I feel particularly proud of our Christmas wins. You know what I mean? Just because they're hard to come by.
I agree. And I've been excited to talk about this because I feel like we've dropped some hints about our Portugal, Spain kind of adventure.
Yeah.
We've never had a chance to like flush out how we did it and how much it cost. And as I'm looking through our notes, I'm remembering a lot of fun memories from it as well.
It was kind of a wild trip. You know, I mean, it's like, it was awesome and so many amazing memories. But like when I was writing this one, like our outline for this, I was like, some weird things happened on this trip.
For
like
sure.
some like almost fails. There were quite a few, like real close calls.
You know, there's some things that I learned that I don't know how we would have found out ahead of time, like waiting on that bus for like 4 hours or picking it up. Remember we took a cab to get a bus that then went back to the airport where we could have gotten it to begin with.
That was this trip.
That was this trip.
The same trip that you took us to go pick up tickets to the New Year's Eve party that we could have just picked up at the gate. Oh, well,
hold on. That story comes
it
at
already
the
happened.
End. That comes at the end.
No, I think we told the story.
We told this story?
In the layover episode.
Oh, we did tell this story. That was an epic failure.
Yeah, I think... How did those both happen in the same trip?
Probably because you let me plan things instead of just doing them.
You always plan transportation.
Well, okay, listen. The transportation wasn't really my fault. It was hard to understand.
It was.
I will say
I forgot about the airport one.
Yes.
That was actually really funny. So I'm going to paint a better picture, I think, of what that looked like. That looked like us getting a taxi from the airport or taking public transit. I don't know, something.
We got an Uber. We flew into Porto.
Oh, that's right. We got an Uber.
And we flew into Porto, and I got us an Uber to get to the bus station, which made sense because our ticket, I think, was to pick it up at the bus station.
Yeah. We
waited, and then we had only a certain amount of time, and we had to find it. Mm-hmm. Also, not many people speak English.
No.
So, but it's a bus station. You know, it's most of them are the same. We find it, we get on, and then it takes us right back to the airport to pick up people.
Literally back to the airport. Like,
meanwhile, I think we were also like wanting coffee or something and didn't get anything. And this whole time, remember, because I was going to get vending machine things and you always turn your nose at that. But I don't. I'm a lowly vending machine goer.
I'm not a good snacker.
That's true. You're suspect of certain things like that. I have a hardcore stomach, so.
No, I'm just really bad at snacking. Like, where some people are like, oh, I'll just eat this little snack. It actually makes me, like, feel way worse to eat a snack than it does to just wait. I know that seems, like, very strange. People are going to, like, email me and be like, that's not a thing.
I need
but
some
I promise it is.
nutritionist or someone out there to explain this to me, because
It's a thing. Anyways, the point is, yes, we didn't. And actually, well, we're giving away too many stories. This is a good one. We're going to come back to this when we talk about transportation, because this whole thing actually started as a fail, not our fail, but a fail in general. Something that you should look out for if you travel through Europe. But I digress. We will get back to that. Let's talk money, because that's kind of the way that we we usually start out these types of episodes where we're breaking down kind of costs and how we did it. And this one, I will say, like I already said it before, but I'm pretty proud of this one. We kept this one under $2,000 for a week-long trip to Europe.
I was impressed with this one too, because the year before we went to Paris.
Yeah, and I was impressed by that one for myself.
But it was still COVID.
Yeah, right.
You know, so Paris, I was like, all right, I get it. This is still like cheap airfare time, and it's depending on where you were in the world. You know, travel was still weird. So
yeah, that's true.
That part of it was that, but I still think we pulled it off. But after that, like, I think travel was pretty booming.
Oh, yeah.
And we were still able to find some really cool airfare.
Yeah, and that's actually coming back. So, like, since this trip, I've had a really hard time finding cheap airfare. I've not even gotten that many alerts from Going.
That's what I was going to say on Going. You can notice if you track with Going, you can see, like, when they start giving you deals that are like $600, you know it's bad.
That's the worst. Because then you know it's expensive. But no, they've gotten back down. So let's set the scene, shall we? So we have this is a deal from Going. So speaking of Going, or AKA Scotch Cheap Flights, they sent us a deal in May of 2022. And it was we had been looking for one. So that's good to know. So we did our little travel talk in January of 2022, which if you don't know that, either go back or stick around, because we're going to talk about travel talk again in the new year.
New and revised.
But we did our travel talk, so we knew we were looking for a flight, really to anywhere. Europe is a good go-to because we only have a week, so we can't go super far. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to go somewhere that we would want like minimum 2 weeks.
Right.
So
like we're not going to Asia. Like it's just too far.
And it's coming from the East Coast. It is easy to go to most European countries because
exactly.
it's, not that far.
So we were really looking for Europe, South America, Central America. That was kind of our, spaces that we were looking for. And we weren't getting a lot, and we were getting a little nervous. And then this one popped up for $400 to Portugal. And Portugal wasn't really on either of our lists.
No, it wasn't on our radar.
No, I mean, it wasn't like we were against it. It just wasn't, top of our list.
I just don't think there was much I knew about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I didn't really know what to expect, which, is kind of the fun of doing travel in this way that we're talking about, the travel talk
where
way.
You don't pick your destination.
Yeah.
You let it come to you.
Right. That's our like ghoul of voodoo. Just
let
the destination come to us. But that's true. So that's what happened here is we got that $400 thing, and I kind of came to Bruce and I was like, all right, well, Portugal's $400. What do you think? And we looked it up, and because that's the other part to it. You always want to look it up and see, like, yeah, but are the hotels like $1,000 a night? Because that can also blow your budget, like Norway. So we looked at it and we're like, oh no, hotels, like, they're pretty cheap too.
Yeah,
like
and food too.
Everything. We were like, this seems great. Let's go. So we booked those tickets to $400 each. So $800. We did the cash tickets because we weren't really travel hacking much at this point. We had just kind of started. And then we did our hotels. This was fairly impressive in my opinion. Marriott is never the easiest way to, like, they don't have expensive hotels in terms of points and miles. But Spain has such cheap hotels, or Vigo, Spain, where we also wanted to go. So we split it between Spain and Portugal. That we were able to get 3 nights on our Marriott points. And so we had that hotel free. And that was the AC Hotel, my Marriott Palacio Universal.
Palacio.
And that is the first one that'll come up if you search it. But
yeah,
we got
it was very centrally located.
Yeah, it was great.
Super nice.
Totally. I mean, it was a Marriott. Like it was very much what you expect from a Marriott. And then the other one in Porto, so we have that Venture X card, the Capital One Venture X, and it comes with $300 travel credit. I'm always wary of doing that with hotel or with airfare. And so I was like, oh, let's look and see if we can do it with our hotel. And we actually got all 3 nights in Porto covered, but the River Hotel, or Porto River Hotel in obviously Porto. And it was like $350. So we spent an extra $50 outside of the travel credit. And so for 6 nights, we spent $50.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I couldn't believe that we got the Porto River Hotel for that money.
It was nice.
It was super nice. Like the Marriott was a Marriott. It wasn't really a place you'd stay in your room very much, but we're not really staying in a room,
No.
It was really central to like the
Everything.
main downtown area, so that was super nice, very walkable place. But Porto, it was right on the river.
Yeah.
Like right by one of the main bridges that brings you to the other side where there's like all the port wine places. So, but the room itself too was super nice.
Yeah.
It was
the whole hotel was nice.
It was like a little apartment.
Yeah.
And the hotel was really cool. They had breakfast but it was a restaurant. I think that was there something else that was for free? I'm trying to remember in the evening. They're like little tapas maybe.
Yeah, there definitely was. Yeah, it was just really nice. The whole thing. The only problem, which we get to in a little later, is that we couldn't get in early, which is not their fault. I'm not at all blaming, hotels for holding up their policies. But it just was raining.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say this was
and...
actually probably the rainiest Christmas time. I think, Paris was kind of rainy too. I wonder if just in Europe in December it can be that way.
Yeah, I do think that's the case. But it was really rainy in Portugal. But anyway, so we had our $50 hotel, for 6 nights.
So right now we're at what, 800 for flights, 50 for hotels.
Yeah. And then the last thing that is kind of like transportation and lodging is that this bus ticket. So we mentioned the bus already with, went back to the airport. We could have just caught it there. But we weren't ever supposed to take a bus. I'd had a train booked.
Oh, you reminded me of this.
Yes.
Right. So we were going to take a train, which is way preferable.
Yeah, way preferable.
Yeah, I think... the biggest thing about the bus too is that I realized getting into Vigo is a nightmare for cars. Here's a couple things that we learned that I don't think we knew completely ahead of time.
I'm actually not sure that you could know this completely ahead of time.
To be fair, if you're searching in the United States, it's probably hard to figure this out because the events that took place in Vigo for Christmas time, I think, are very much advertised to Spain and Portugal. So a lot of people were going to Vigo because they have a really cool Christmas market, like really awesome. Yeah. So the traffic was insane,
like obscene.
I think we were supposed to be on this bus for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be long.
And we added like an hour or two, just like the last mile.
We literally, at one point, I was like, God, I just get out. I will literally just get out of this bus.
But it was, the reason. So here's the other thing to think about in Europe. A lot of times there are strikes.
Right. This is what I was going to mention, is it is good to know.
The headache was the train line was not going to be running going there. Coming back, we were able to take the train. But going there, we had to figure out another way. So anyway, we took the bus. But again, it wasn't super expensive. And it's important to know when you do trains especially, you always want to book ahead of time.
Right.
Because they'll go from like a very reasonable, cheap price to like insane if you're booking like the day of. Or even the week of. Right.
That was our mistake back in France. If you watched the Paris episode, that happened to us in Strasbourg. It was already an expensive train ticket, and then it was like double the price when we actually went to book it.
That was
terrible. So that was all of our expenses and transportation and lodging. So all of that together is roughly slightly under $1,000 in terms of what we have to pay for. And I always want to do that first. We did have a lower budget in mind when we did this trip. We wanted to keep it under $2,500. I think we wanted to keep it close to $2,000 if we could. So when I saw that pretty much everything was paid for that we had to pay for with $1,000, I was like, okay, we have another $1,000 to spend. We may have to watch it a little bit because in Paris you do not have to watch $1,000 in where we were in Porto and Vigo, especially in Vigo. They're just very budget-friendly destinations. I just feel like everything was so reasonably priced. Like, it wasn't like cents for things. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't...
No, but it never felt like... we were in main areas, and
Yeah.
I never felt like anything was exploited. Like, it's like super expensive.
Right.
I mean, to be
yeah.
fair, I'm sure... I remember talking to someone in Porto, locals, and obviously if you were outside of the tourist area, things got even cheaper.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, just because of the way money
Well,
works.
that's like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it works anywhere.
Yeah.
So. But even still, like, coming from the United States, it's very reasonable.
Like, very reasonable. Oh, well, coming especially from the northern United States.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so... Now we have $1,000 to just kind of spend in Vigo and Portugal. So let's tell you how we did that, because that's the fun part.
All right, so let's break down kind of our itinerary, because I think, we definitely had a lot of money left over, which was awesome because we spent it mostly on food.
Oh, it's like that's always what we do.
I just remembered, too, we went to a Michelin star restaurant that I don't even think we realized was one until we were there.
That absolutely happened.
Yes.
That was our, last day there. But, yeah. The thing about Spain, and I know that this is not unknown, but they definitely shut down things in the late afternoon. And so if you hadn't already gotten lunch, and they also were up really late, so it just threw our schedule completely off.
That was really tough. Yes, because there's this whole middle of the day that's closed.
Right. So it's like if you had a late breakfast, so then you want a late lunch, you're out of luck. There's really not late lunches. So that brings us back to how we got to this Michelin star. Because we were looking for a late lunch. We're looking for just anything kind of to hold us over. And you found this, I think, and just because it had good reviews.
Yes, but we only went in there for a snack. And we were lucky because everybody was already seated.
Right.
And they were about to close to take that break before dinner, which was going to be at 8 o'clock.
I actually think that they told us that their main dining was closed, but that they could do appetizers and things like that.
They were nice to it.
They were really nice.
Super nice. We got to sit at the bar. We got croquettes, which were delicious. I really wish we got more food.
I know. Well, so we got croquette. We got a glass of wine because when in Rome.
When in Vigo.
Yeah, when in Vigo. So we got wine, and they had obviously an extensive wine list. I believe we just got something from the Galician region because we were all about that in Vigo.
Galicia. That was the area we were in. So there were a couple different wines that were specific.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though we're not in Portugal right now, the Douro Valley and all of that, that's still in the local area. So it's a big wine country over there. And so we got wine and croquettes, and we were like, oh my God, these are good. These are unbelievably good. Because they're really just little ham and cheese things. Really, you know what I mean?
Potatoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And potatoes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They weren't the ham ones. Oh, wait.
No, they were.
They did.
Totally were.
Yeah, they were just little potato,
But they're just such a simple meat, dish. I was just oh, yeah, we'll get these little things. We'll munch on them. And then they came out, and they were so fancy. They had saffron on them or something. And
I had microgreens.
Yeah. And we ate them, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever had. What? Where did we find? And then it was so good that we got dessert. We weren't even gonna get dessert.
Oh yeah.
We got that cream pastry thing, and we just left being why was that so good? Are we just starving? That was so amazing. And literally, it was raining because this is when it had started to rain, and then didn't stop until we left. And so we were sitting kind of under the covered porch thing of it.
We took a picture too. I think.
We definitely did, but it was literally I hit my shoulder. And I was like, what is this? It was their little Michelin plaque. And I was like, oh.
That's why.
Well, that's why it was so good. And then, we were we should have got more food. Dang.
Yes. Well, we did eat a lot. I know the first night, so they had it was a giant Christmas festival. Mm-hmm. And I know one of the
Christmas
biggest...
market.
Yeah, there was a Christmas market, which had a ton of different food. Definitely a little nerve-wracking at first because really nobody spoke English.
That's actually maybe my first time I've ever been in a country with so few people speaking English. And I'm not talking Spain in general. I know that there's a lot of places in Spain where people speak a lot of English, but Vigo, Spain is not one of those places.
No, I don't think they get a lot of tourists that aren't regional.
Yeah.
And which was fun. And
it was fun.
People were super cool and nice, and it was not hard to get around. I mean, I know enough Spanish to ask for a number of things, and I could you know, read the food item. And we have Google Translate. You know,
we use so much Google Translate.
Yes, a lot of Google Translate. But the Christmas market was awesome. And the nice thing, too, is that pretty much everywhere just takes credit card. Yeah. So it wasn't hard to pay for anything. But they had so many good items. We just kept going out at night and checking boxes off. Like, definitely all kinds of wine. There was the wine bar by the glass. That was cool. And then it was like in Germany, I think. Didn't you get like a token or something so you could get your money back for the deposit? There was some sort of like pork. It was like
a sandwich.
It was like a sandwich that was so really good. That was also like very regional.
Yeah. There was octopus.
The octopus pulpo. Yes, dude. Okay. Oh, I have to say, the octopus. So aside from the Christmas market, we did a couple other things. One night we did, I know this was on our notes somewhere, there was a really like popular, we looked it up, a local restaurant, like a family-run restaurant. Yeah. But we got there like 10 minutes to open or something. It was like
because we were starving.
We were starving.
We are early people. We wake up very early because we work in schools. And so like we wake up at 5 a.m., and we're in bed by 10 p.m.
Listen, our lifestyle is like not the opposite of a Mediterranean.
Literally the opposite.
Well, I guess that's not Mediterranean, but you know, it's still kind of. They're not in the Mediterranean,
but I know what you mean though. It's like, it just
stay up late.
Yeah, it's not our vibe, and so we really struggle with the schedule. And some of these places for dinner, they opened at 8 p.m. And Bruce and I eat dinner at like 5. Sometimes at 4:30. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like 5 is pushing it for us. So by 8 p.m., we're like ravenously hungry. So yes, we were there before they opened because we're like, we will be the first to sit. We were so hungry. But thank goodness we did that because I think we got like their last table.
Mm-hmm. It was really lucky. And that's where I knew I wanted to get seafood. Like one thing in Vigo, I know that's cool that I would have gone back to. They have mussel beds and like oyster farms, like a lot of seafood out in the water, but you can go down in the very early morning to the marketplace and just buy seafood off from the vendors. Yeah. But this place it's fresh it's as fresh as you could possibly get. Yeah. And I did get octopus because I was very excited about it, but it was so much octopus. I don't think I could ever eat all that. And I tried. I tried,
like a really great video.
I tried.
Of Bruce just signaling defeat on the octopus.
I thought I'd like it more. It was very unique.
Wasn't it like kind of cumin-y or something?
Yeah, I think it was paprika maybe.
Paprika. Yeah, it was something like that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was delicious. It was like a lot of olive oil, but it was a ton of octopus.
It was like a massive ton. And I had already specified that I would not be eating the octopus.
Kept getting pork and like potatoes.
Of course.
Which I forget what the name was for that, but it was very common. You can get everywhere. So anyway.
It was the best. I did try the octopus. I'd like to put that out there because I always try it. But I had told you, like, do not count on me eating this octopus because, like, I will try it and that is it.
I just love the sights and the smells of that Christmas market and the lights. That's what I was going to say. So the thing that I read about that drew people to it is the amount of lights.
I actually got them kind of in trouble.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So, like, I think Spain had an issue with energy and they were trying to, like, conserve energy. And Vigo is like, nah, we have a Christmas market.
Yeah, like, people were mad because they're like, so I have to turn off my personal lights at, 8 p.m., but then, like, the entire city of Vigo.
Listen, it's Christmas. You got to
let the
light shine.
I mean, hence the traffic.
So we had a lot of fun, especially in the evenings. There was one fast food place. Do you remember what that one was called?
I'll put it in the show notes. But
yeah, we'll find it.
It was like a chain, I think, but like a local kind of chain. And we...
Sandwiches, I think. Different types.
We had everything prepared. It was very busy and very quick. And like we said, everyone spoke kind of just Spanish. And we were nervous about ordering. So we had like practice what we were going to say. And then when Bruce said it, they were like, we're out of that. Yeah. And he just like, okay, then give me this. And I was like, what did you order? And he's like, I have no idea.
I think I just pointed and I was like, dos.
Yeah, and we're like, we'll see what we get. It was great. I don't know what it was either.
That was fast paced and hectic because like scary. The nightlife was busy and it was popping. Like, so anyway, some other things we did there that were really fun. If you find yourself in this part of the world, vermouth. Yeah. Which was like a thing. I guess
just straight vermouth.
Yes, and house made, like microbrewery vermouth.
It was so good. This was like one of actually both times that we've thought this, we were in this trip, like whether we were in Portugal or Vigo, but it's like one of the only times ever I was like, I wish I had a checked bag. because I can't bring in that big of liquids on a carry-on, and we didn't have a check bag. And I was like,
I regret it.
oh my gosh.
I wish I had it, because we decided to walk kind of like away from by the water. So like the downtown is kind of like it's pretty hilly in Vigo.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a bay of sorts. City's been around forever. It's like a fishing port. Probably goes back to Galatians, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, or Galatia. So walking up into the city, we were trying to get out and away. There's like a ton of different shopping areas. We ended up finding what was definitely more of a local area, and this little shop that did like cheese and charcuterie with vermouth.
We walked directly to there because we walked forever to get to that place.
It was worth it.
Oh, it was totally worth it. It was like a 2.5 mile walk into like neighborhoods.
Yep.
Like it was out.
It was so mom
way.
and pop, and they were pumped because they were like,
they were so like, how did you?
Why are you
get
here?
Yeah.
Who do you work for? You know what I mean? It's like, no, we're just want vermouth.
They were the nicest people.
We were probably starving because we're forgetting to eat at the right time.
Yeah, we're literally like housing these like nuts and cheese because we were just like so hungry.
That's fun. Anytime you order a drink in this part of the world, they always give you like olives or a snack for free. Yeah. Tapas.
Yeah. So. The vermouth was amazing though. Like I literally could drink just vermouth like easily. I mean, it does help that my like favorite drink is a Manhattan, which is like half vermouth, but like I just loved it. I was like, wow, I wish we could find this.
They gave us a flight because you can get like white kind of like to red.
Oh yeah.
It's actually, it was like port wine.
I forgot about the flight.
This was a whole education. You forgot because we drank too much probably. Anyway, the vermouth was like white.
Yeah, I remember
like
this.
Dry.
Yeah.
And I guess I've only ever thought about this as like mixers for certain drinks.
Yeah, like I knew there was a sweet vermouth versus a dry vermouth, but like
there's
that's
like
it.
a range among it.
Right. Yeah.
Among them. So.
And then one other thing that you're forgetting, and it was not my choice. It was your choice. It was the same night as what you're talking about right now. Again, you really wanted seafood, and you found that little place.
Oh, this was another. It wasn't a Michelin star, but it was definitely in the realm of like.
It was fancy.
Chef's table. Like there's like 8 dishes a night or something.
Yeah,
the squid. Yeah. Remember the squid ink?
Yeah, I remember. It was like a tasting menu that I wasn't really that into, but I'm not a huge seafood person, and it was definitely seafood heavy.
To be fair, it was a lot. I mean, like
there's a lot.
If you were into seafood, this place would be heaven.
The only like non-seafood thing that we got was like beef tongue.
Yeah, it was definitely something.
And so it was like it was very good, but it was just I don't know.
It was adventurous. It wasn't.
It was a little the texture of it was kind of off-putting, and I was like, if I can just focus on the flavor here, it's very good. But like the whole thing was kind of mushy. Like the bread and and I was just like,
I think it's one of those things where it's an experience, and we were really needing like burger, fries, or just something heavy like pasta because we were out and about all day,
right?
And it was like small plate, adventurous flavors. Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot.
Anyway, some other things besides food.
We did do other things besides food.
A couple things to look out for, like free walking tours. So we were going to take a free walking tour. But then because the whole city was filled with people from Portugal on vacation, none of the English ones were running because they
literally none.
We would have to have gone a private one probably because they just, all the Spanish speaking and Portuguese ones were taken. So we kind of followed one around, not purposefully, but we did our own little walking tour.
Yeah, no, actually, so we followed, what he means is like we followed a walking tour around, but we didn't make up the walking tour. It was actually from an app, which is pretty cool. It's called GPS My City. And it's free. And I just looked up Vigo, Spain, and they had like a, self-guided walking tour, and I just took that. And it was cool. It gave me like a little history about each place we were at. And like Bruce said, we did end up kind of like hooking up with another walking tour. So clearly this is probably where we would have gone anyways. And it was a really cool, like, I was really impressed with the walking tour that it found for us. Like it did take us to like a nice number of spots. Yeah,
you got good vantage points. There's like a fortress of sorts in the city. a couple like landmarks.
Yeah.
It was just a really nice walk.
Yeah, it was a nice walk, and it was like our only sunny day the whole week.
Yeah, we were lucky. We had this sunny day, and then there was another thing we wanted to do. You can go out to these islands.
Yeah.
And there's a couple boats that are pretty easy to take, like ferries out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, when we were gonna do it, it was raining and kind of cold, and we ended up saying, we'll have to come back.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a place that's probably more popular in the summer. All right. So, well, speaking of rain, let's go on to our next destination, which was Porto.
And it rained for 3 days straight, nonstop.
Yes,
it did not stop raining.
It did not cease.
No. Okay, so the cool thing about Porto, I mean, there's a lot of really cool things. We've met actually quite a few people now that are, in London or France or whatever that have vacation homes in Porto. So it is definitely, like, I don't hear it talked a lot about in the US, but maybe it's just not in my circles. But it is a big, like, European kind of getaway.
Yeah, I think the UK goes to Portugal a lot.
Yeah, and
France.
Specifically Porto, I think. And so Porto is like a really cool foodie city. It's a beautiful city. And obviously port wine is a big deal in Porto. But the one thing that I did not expect that was kind of fun for me, being a huge fan, was that J.K. Rowling wrote like the first couple chapters or the first full Harry Potter book in Porto because she lived there. And so there's so many either like Easter eggs, like Harry Potter Easter eggs, or literally you can go to like the cafe that she was at.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we spent our first day.
And a lot of our second.
Pretty much most of our time.
Like most of our time, yeah.
But it was fun because, I mean, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, a lot of the areas that were inspiring the books are landmark kind of places to go to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful. I mean, think about, even if, like, like Bruce said, if you're not a fan of Harry Potter, it doesn't take away the fact that, like, the scenery is beautiful and, like, the insides of the corridors of the, Hogwarts is beautiful and those kinds of things. I mean, some of the scenery is obviously like Scotland and things like that, but other parts of the scenery, like, you could see
the architecture.
The architecture.
It's the architecture. Big. Yeah. So, like, there's the school and there's that main tower up on, like, the
astronomy towers, that they say,
the hill.
right?
Yes. And then there's, is it the palace or is it where there's the courtyard, the Quidditch courtyard?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what that place was called, but it's on like the edge of the river overlooking. I'm pretty sure it is a palace, or it was once. It's a part of like that whole area.
Well, I just know that maybe my favorite place that we went that was like Harry Potter inspired that inspired Harry Potter, was that it had a courtyard as well. I can't actually remember what it was, but remember it had like the blue walls and it was like very Hogwarts, and there was like 2 stories and there's a courtyard in the middle.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the palace. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was like straight up Hogwarts.
Yeah, 100%.
It
really
was
cool.
so beautiful. Just so beautiful. And that's probably my favorite one, although the bookstore was also crazy.
Yeah, something you got to do in Porto is go to I always forget how you say it. It's like Livraria Layo.
You forgot how to say it? I've never known.
I've never known how to say it. Anyway, it's a library.
It's like the most beautiful library in the world.
It's like a bookstore.
Yeah, it's a bookstore, not a library.
But,
you actually have to pay to get in.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to know, is that you should look ahead for a ticket time so that you're not waiting in the standby line.
Yeah, that you may or may not get in.
But the way they do it is that like you essentially get a ticket that then can be used as a gift certificate to get, or not gift certificate, but like some money off of a book.
Yeah, so like I bought, of course, the Harry Potter book in Spanish. Couldn't find it in Portuguese, but I bought it in Spanish for like the first one, and it was like this really cool kind of illustrated version of it. But
there's a pop-up.
It's a pop-up book, yeah. But in any case, I used my like credit from getting in the bookstore on it. So it's
that popular that you need to get a ticket to get inside at all.
It's really not it's not like a ticket, like an entrance fee, as much as it is like, if they didn't have this, people would never buy anything in there and they'd just come to take pictures.
Well, I also think it'd get overrun.
Yeah, well, it's already over. I mean, it's busy in there. So I can't even imagine. and then no one ever buy anything.
Right.
And so this is kind of like their incentive to be like, we, love that you come in and look at this beautiful bookstore, but like we're also a store. Like, please buy things. So it's more of an incentive, I would say, than like an entrance fee. Although it is an entrance fee straight up if you don't buy anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the bookstore is amazing. There was also like, there's a statue of like green, essentially Gryffindors, like mascot.
Oh, right. Not the dragons, the lions.
Yeah, the lions.
Yeah, there's like a fountain, I think.
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's not like there's little bit. It's like there are so many things in this.
Yeah, she definitely pulled right from it. And the college
right
there,
from it.
The college there, the robes they wear.
I would say they still wear robes, like now
Harry
today.
Potter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Oxford. It's old.
Yeah.
The college in Porto.
Yeah.
The university or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so much cool Harry Potter stuff, and it's a beautiful place to just walk around and be in like the ambiance of it.
The river, come on, you can't get much better than like a European city on a river.
And honestly, we only had just a couple days there, and I really wish we had more.
Yeah, if we had more, I would have gone out to the wine valley, like the Douro.
That was
Valley.
one of the things. So one of the things, yeah, to like almost like excursions from Porto.
Yeah,
would be really fun to do. Because you can go towards, there are beaches, but you'd have to go all the way to the coast. Mm-hmm. So because you're kind of far in the river. It's called Porto, which makes you think, oh, it's a port town. But you're like,
well, it's like a river port.
It's a river port, right? Yeah. But the Douro River like valley area is where you can go out and do all these really extensive wine tours, mm-hmm. which is I would definitely do if you had time. I would stay in Porto for like a week.
Yeah, I would definitely go. I want to see the beaches. Like yep. I feel like that would be really cool.
I would want to go not in December.
Yeah,
go back when it's warm.
Yeah, but we did have a good time. And then one of the other big things that we did was, and a fail. We said so many fails in this one. The fail of the hotel was that we started to mention earlier. Also was like, it was cold and raining and wet, and again our times got messed up, and so at some point we were just trying to like wait to get in, and we just needed to eat something, and then at one point it just was like, I will literally eat anything.
And it was pouring rain.
It was pouring
But hey, we
rain.
found that sandwich place.
That's what I was gonna say.
With these guys that were super nice
they
from
were
like
super
Brazil.
Nice. We talked to them for forever, like an hour.
Nicest
they're
people.
the nicest people. Yeah, honestly, these people like in both Vigo and Porto, were so
like
nice.
The locals and the people that were working there, super cool. And you reminded me because one of the other things, two things, pastel de nata.
Oh my gosh.
Classic pastry. You can get them everywhere. We got them every time we saw one. I think I bought one.
Even today, anytime I see them, I buy them.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with them.
So that's one thing you got to find. The other thing is...
oh God, good luck.
I'm going to try to say
I know what you're saying.
Francesina, I think. It's like Francesca. But it's Portuguese.
Yeah.
It's a sandwich that, honestly... It's like almost like they're not a national sandwich, but
it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's like literally what you make when you're drunk at night. Like this guy at a really cool hostel that I would totally stay at. City Nizer Plaza, right?
Yeah.
Which has it's like a music venue and a restaurant and a bar, and then upstairs is their hostel.
Would definitely stay there.
Definitely, and their food was delicious.
Really good.
But I got this sandwich there because I knew I was gonna get it. It was one of the things, and we talked to the waiter, who was also like the host at the same. Like wasn't he also?
Yeah, we had to go upstairs to pay because the internet.
And we talked to him for a while, and he was a really cool guy,
really
a local.
Cool. He would definitely tell you could never pronounce that name correctly because you just can't make the sounds.
I like
Remember
that. Yeah,
we were talking about that.
No one can ever really learn Portuguese unless you're local because you won't really get the sound correct.
Yeah,
there's some unique sounds, which was fun. So we got to talk to him for a while. But anyway, the sandwich is like this. Oh man,
it's very hard to explain.
It's like meat, bread. It's almost like. I don't want to say spaghetti sauce because that's offensive, but it's delicious.
A tomato.
It's like a tomato sauce.
It's like a tomato soup.
Egg. There's an egg, right? Yes,
there's an egg. Like a sunny side up egg, and then the whole thing is just like covered in melted cheese.
Like there's like multiple different meats.
There is multiple meats.
Like I looked it up. A sausage of sorts, a ham, but oh my gosh, it's delicious. It's filling. It's
filling for days. It's such a thick sandwich. I mean, it's literally like 6 inches tall. Like, it's a huge
it was worth
sandwich.
It. So anyway, those are some things. But yes, we also definitely had to go. We want to do a port wine cellar. Now, here's another thing if you go to Porto. Book this ahead of time, or else you're going to be running through the streets like me.
Literally running.
Also, here's the other crazy... I guess it's not that crazy, because it's like, oh, it's a nightlife place. I'm sure they'll be doing tours until late in the evening.
That was our thought.
Wrong.
Every single one ended at like 5:30. Yeah. And we got there at like 5:15.
But we did luck out. We did. And then Shelly and I was like, I get up to the counter.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, which one do you want? I'm like, I don't know. And I get the most expensive package. So we finally get to the tasting. Because the package was literally just what tasting you want at the end.
Yeah.
We're, I think, the only people that got the most expensive one. The guy, he's like a sommelier, looks at us. He's like, oh, so you know port wines really well. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. Literally never had one in my whole life. But yeah, give me whatever.
I think the best part is the people around us. Like, someone on our left, they hated it. Like,
They clearly hated
did not
it.
like it.
But they were having a great time about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like a husband and wife. They're older couple, and the wife was just like, I don't like, she did not speak the language, but it was like everything about her I was like, you don't like that at all. But they were just like laughing so hard about it. I don't know, I just loved it. I thought it was so cute.
We had a fun group and a good tour guide, because it was an English one, so it was like everyone who didn't speak Portuguese.
Yeah, right. From like every other country. Yeah,
but it was fun. I learned a lot. I learned that I like port wine.
Yeah, well, cool. It's like aged in Scotch barrels. Or no, Scotch is aged in port barrels.
Yes, Scotch is aged in port barrels.
Yes.
And port barrels sell for a lot of money.
Yes.
But anyway, it's such a fun experience. I wish we had more time to have spent there. Definitely worth the money, not super expensive.
No.
Overall,
even with our most expensive package, it was like, I think like $20 a person. And that was for the most expensive, like 25 year pours or whatever. So worth it. So glad for Christmas. And now that it's like, wow, I'm like looking at how long we've been able to talk about this. What, 6 days, not even, just about, with travel. Yeah.
Christmas vacation for less than like $3,000 for two people.
It was like less than $2,000.
Yeah. Well, it was 2,000. Yeah.
It was actually, right at $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the only episode that we're actually going to have to cut down. Because we could talk about it forever.
It was fun.
It was so fun. Like, it just was so unexpectedly fun. I think that's like Paris at Christmas. Like, you have your expectations and you're like excited to be there, and it's Paris and it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. But like, we just had no expectations.
I had more fun on this because and now it's just making me think, like, where else isn't being marketed or isn't being talked about commonly that would just be as awesome.
Yeah, I think that's why I like kind of the way that we use going Scotch Sea Flights, because it does kind of put us in places that we wouldn't have necessarily picked ourselves right off the top, but like, it doesn't mean that they're not like amazing places to explore. Yep. That's kind of why I like our like roulette of going.
There's so many places to travel.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we are actually going to use our Instagram this week. We're ready. We're going to do it. And we're going to talk about all of these things, kind of give some more visuals. So if you liked the story, the different places we talked about, we're going to put some pictures with some words on the Instagram.
Yeah, check it out.
And we're going to put all the links in. Well, all the links are going to be on our newsletter this week, but most of the links will be in the show notes.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Did you know that every time you book a Disney or Universal vacation, you're paying for a service that you may not even be using?
Really?
That's right. Travel agent costs are added to your Disney or Universal vacation, whether you use one or not.
So you're telling me that I'm paying for something even though I'm not getting the help?
You got it. So next time you want to book a theme park vacation, make your money work for you. By booking with Magic Pass Travel, you'll get our expertise and years of experience without paying any extra and while supporting a small business.
Check out our show notes to find our contact information.
Can't wait to help you plan your next adventure.